All glories to Guru and Gauranga. So today I'm going to start a new series in translating the Gita purports of Krishna-Candra Prabhu from Switzerland. First time for the English devotee community. So we're starting with verse 333, and that is translation. Even if a human is grounded in knowledge, he is forced to act according to his or her nature acquired in this world. All beings follow their acquired nature. So what could repression accomplish? Purport. All living beings, even humans that are grounded in knowledge, act according to their nature. The behavior of everyone is rooted in samskaras, impressions, thoughts, tendencies, desires, which is based on a long history. This verse has a lot to do with the picture of God that Krishna wants to convey to us. Because what happens to someone who doesn't follow God? Will he be punished? Krishna has understanding for those who are unable to follow, because they are forced by their habit. Even the contact with the right and the real does not really leave an imprint on them, just as the rain does not moisten the frog. One may even have discrimination, but may nevertheless, by the acquired knowledge from the Holy Scriptures, not be able to retain oneself to act otherwise. After Ajamil, famous Brahmana from the Vedas, saw a prostitute, he was agitated and tried to keep his composure with wisdom from the Holy Scriptures to control his mind, but he was unable to. That's Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th Canto, 1st chapter, 62nd verse. But by the powerful association, sadhu sangha, spiritual association, the impossible becomes possible. This is another quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 11:26-26. The saints may, by their powerful presence and words, dissolve the forming excessive attachments, which in turn make one indifferent to God. Furthermore, Krishna says Arjuna should just play his acquired role in this world, because the conscious role play loosens the role. Just giving up one's momentary role, which some people understand to be spiritual life, would lead to deviation from the path. Suppression or repression is exactly that which leads to psychic diseases, to depression and neurosis. Krishna says here that one has to follow the movements and impulses. Now the question may arise, what happens if these inner movements lead one to abominable actions? The observation is that this leads to humility. When an inner movement says one should consume a substance of enjoyment, and one then follows that impulse, one realizes where one is really at. This realization in itself is already lightening up the consciousness. One can perceive that many more positive samskaras will be necessary to dissolve those inner compulsions and that leads to humility. When, on the other hand, one is renouncing the sense objects, it looks very nice, and one may even acquire honor and fame, which leads to pride, in which one may hide from oneself, and that is the exact opposite of self-realization. In this sense, Krishna says it is better to act according to one's nature and then make gradual progress. As Krishna says, suppression does not function. This is also the realization of modern psychology. Suppression leads to blockages and armoring of the self. Where then is transformation? To transform the needs, it is necessary to first of all know them. When one constantly suppresses the needs to fit to an ideal, then one does not longer know those needs. From honesty arises humility and the openness to accept higher knowledge. The purification of the needs is through bhakti, which is attention and devotion to Him, which he has previously mentioned in verse 330. So it is not necessary to forcefully intervene with the needs. Having a nature that is tendentially still against universal laws can be purified in two ways. On one side, by one's own endeavor to act without attachment and aversion, Gita 3:34, and through complete devotion to God, verse 1862. If we were all just menials of nature, why then should one at all try to tame those drives? So, what is the value of an ethic that teaches rules and prohibitions, yam and niyam? Krishna now speaks about how one may purify one's nature, and that will be discussed in verse 334. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your interest. Your comments are very welcome. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.